These are the basic tools for cutting a window film of a side door window. So you got your squeegee, you got your other squeegee. Pretty much both do the same except for they're different angles for different parts of the window. Got your knife for the actual cutting of the pattern, get it ready for install. You got your scraper, which is pretty much to clean the window of any grime, or sometimes there's little stickers on there that need to come off. Then you got your hard card or angled hard card, which is used in the edges of the actual window to try to get behind the gasket or the rubber seals. Full video of a side window installation. First, you want to go ahead and measure up your window. Since the window looks like it's 31 inches, you always want to give yourself a couple more, at least 3 inches, just because of the angle. So you probably want to cut a piece about 34 inches long. Okay, for the installation of a side window, you always want to make sure that the window is clean before you put your piece of film on there and actually start making your pattern. So you use your Blue Max squeegee to go ahead and squeegee that off. Once the window is actually clean, you can go ahead and spray it up again. Take your film and actually go ahead and put it up on here. Most of the time you can actually even just use the factory cut edge just lined up against the bottom there. It makes it easier, and it's one less edge that you need to cut. Always make sure that you got the proper protective wear when you're using your knife. So your piece is on here, bottom's lined up. You're going to do your first cut, the back edge. Just run your blade along the inside of the rubber gasket, as so. You tear this away. You're actually going to pick up your film and slide it over about, I'd say about 1/4 of an inch just into the gasket, and make it overlap. Actually, yeah, about 1/4 an inch. Come over to the front end. And actually do the same. Run your blade alongside that gasket. Tear that piece of film away. Now pick up your film, slide it back just enough to where the actual film is just laying up and over the rubber gasket equally on this side as well as that side. The key is to try to make the film just slightly larger than the actual glass exposed, so you can take your edge into the gasket from the inside and you won't see any cut lines. Spray the tint there with water. Take your Blue Max squeegee. Now what you're doing is you're locking the film in, so when you go to roll down the window and cut your top edge, your film doesn't slide out of place, then you end up with a bad cut. So we got that there now. Go ahead and come over here, pick up your film, make sure you pull it off from the bottom so it's not touching the bottom there. Come over to the switch. You want to roll it down probably about a couple inches off the top. Take your blade. You cut about an inch larger. You want to get rid of all your excess film. Tear away. Now you actually bigger about 1/2 inch or so. Okay, take your knife, You want to pull it out about so much. Go ahead and start from one corner, put your knife in, cut up, get that little piece, tear it out. Now you got a starting point. Put your knife in there, and you're actually riding your knife right on the edge of the glass. Once again, tear away. So you pretty much have your top edge cut, your sides cut, your bottom. Now what we need to do is finish up our cuts. You want to go ahead and get a little bit of water in there so the film will stick to it to make your finishing cuts. And outside of it, finishing the cuts here, we also use it to peel the actual liner off and apply the film. So as you can see, I mean, we're pretty much all the cuts are pretty much all done. We just got to finish these. You take any kind of straight edge, whether it's a big one like this, a small one. You take your straight edge, you bring it over here, and we have this area that's not finished as well as this area. So you bring your ruler over, you line it up. And now we're going to finish our cuts. Down here, what you normally want to do is you want to round this out just so this edge, when you're trying to put it in there, that corner does not catch on the rubber gasket or anything else. Now you move over to the other area that needs to be finished. Go ahead and put your straight edge on there. Finish your cut. Take your finger, just round it just a tiny bit. Got that edge. Come down here to the bottom. Once your pattern's cut out, we have to prep the actual window. Go ahead and just spray your window down. After you spray your window, you want to take your scraper blade, and what we're going to do is, it's a 1-inch blade. We're going to scrape the window down, make sure that we get anything that's stuck on there cleaned up. Spray it again. Take your squeegee. Squeegee that out. Use this guy to get into the edges. Okay. Now the bottom half of the window is prepped and clean. Now we're going to go to the top half. Spray your window again. Blade again. Okay, spray it again. Take your microfiber. Clean the top edge. Side edge. Top edge again. Side edge. Squeegee. Make sure you get all the way on the top and go from side to side. Go ahead and make sure you get your sides, squeegee down. Now you're ready for the actual install. So now that you have your window nice and clean, you come over to your peel board and spray a little bit of water on there. Get your corner started here, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to peel your liner. By doing that is you just peel on the corner, and you can usually get the liner to release. Spray some water. And you only want to peel the liner down to the actual exposure of the window. So now that you got that wet, come over back to your window, and you want to spray that corner down, spray that corner down, and make sure you get your window nice and wet. Try not to spray up in any areas or this where you're actually draining some of the stuff down, which can bring contamination either for this rubber seal, either from the other side of the glass or from this side inward. So always down to flush any contamination, and just make sure you get that top wet but not too wet. You walk over to your piece of film, you grab it underneath here, you cradle it with the other hand, as so, trying to avoid touching the actual inside of the film with your fingers. I'm touching the liner, not the film. Bring it over. Still cradling it. Bring it up to the door panel and just let it slide right into there, fall right into there. What you want to do is you want to position it. Try to get it as close as possible to that top edge. Get a little bit of water in there. You can take either your Blue Max or your Yellow Turbo. I usually like this one here. It gives me a little bit more control. And you start from one edge and start squeezing that water out, the whole top edge. Bring it back again. Okay, that slid a little bit there, so let's make sure we slide it back up. And just try to get that top edge as tight as possible without actually going over. You don't want to be up and over the edge, because the film will catch when you roll it up. So that looks fine. Okay, now continue squeegeeing the water out, making sure you have nice overlap squeegee strokes. You want to make sure you get all the water bubbles and any kind of air bubbles that might be underneath. So it's got to make sure that you go over it a few times. So got that whole top section done. It's still sliding a little bit. We'll give it a minute to tack. So it's tacked on the top. Going to go ahead and roll that window up. Okay, window's up. Top section is done. Now we got to worry about the bottom section here. Get your liner, water, shoot down, making sure you get it nice and wet. A little bit of water on the top so your squeegee will slide when needed. Hold this down, never pull away, pull down. Okay, now what you want to do is we're going to have to get this liner behind, the film actually behind the rubber seal. So you get your hands using your thumbs, sort of just pull on the film up. Make sure you get this corner in here. Now you created this tunnel per se on the top, and that's pretty much what you want, because you want to slide that film up, because then we're going to slide it behind the actual rubber gasket. So we get that, pick that up. Okay, we created that now. So here, got the tunnel in the middle. Use your thumb, or actually your fingers, thumb, it doesn't really matter, to pull this away. Now you have that, take your tool. You're going to get behind the rubber gasket so you can slide that back there. So that, this, and this is already in. Same thing over here. We got to open up this gasket. Take your finger, and when you open it, just start pushing it down. It'll get behind there. So you got that in. So you got this in, you got that in. So now that you got your corners in, you want to get the rest of it in there. So make sure you get your tool, get it behind, underneath the rubber seal, and you open it, and you start pushing the film carefully without creasing it behind the actual rubber gasket. Pull a little bit of water on there. Get your squeegee. Start from the center, work your way out. Squeegeeing sideways. Down, not squeegeeing down, sideways. We're trying to stretch your film out so you don't end up with fingers on the bottom. Okay, so we have this whole section. We've got almost, I'd say at least 3/4 of the window already squeegeed out. So we have all this on the bottom. The way you get that out, start from the center. You get your tool in there, and you actually need to get behind that rubber, and you slide your tool as a sweeping motion. Make sure you get your side here too. Sweeping motion. That's done. Now over here, same thing, sweeping motion. That's done. Once again, make sure you get your side. And you want to get from top to bottom, make sure you get it all the way down. Sweep it one more time just to make sure you get everything out of there. And once again. Often after a side window installation, or really any installation, you may end up with some kind of bubble, or what we call a finger. The way to get rid of that is you actually take your heat gun, set it on high, heat it up from the outside, trying to stay away from the actual rubber seal. You do not want to burn that. Take your tool, go. You got a little one left here. You want to get it heat to the touch. Like if you was to touch it 1, 2, 3 seconds, it's too hot. So you do really got to warm it up quite a bit. There's it.